Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Thursday, March 25th, 2021. Today I'm going to go over yesterday's women's round of 32 games. And then I'm going to look ahead to tonight's NIT games and pick them. NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball, spring training, golf. We will give out a pick for the latest event. And we will go over the results, a bunch of upsets, and then shortstop rankings, news and notes, Masked Singer, and my best bet of the day. All right, we'll start in women's college basketball, the round of 32. There are some pretty good games. There's a buzzer beater. And so without further ado, here we go. Hemisphere region, 2-seeded Maryland over 7-seeded Alabama, 164. Maryland is 26-2, Alabama 17-10. Angel Reese 19 for Maryland. Jasmine Walker at 23-7 boards for Bama. Alamo region, 6-seeded Oregon over 3-seeded Georgia 57-50. Oregon 15-8, Georgia 21-7. Sedona Prince 22 points. And Jenna Stady had 18 and 9 boards for Georgia. Alamo region, 5-seeded Missouri State over 13-seeded Wright State 64-39. Missouri State 23-2, Wright State 19-8. Shamar Hale had 20 for Wright, and El Ruffridge had 20 for Missouri State. 4-seeded Indiana over 12-seeded Belmont 70-48 in the Mercado region. Indiana 20-5, Belmont 21-6. Grace Berger had 17 and 3 assists for Indiana, and Destiny Wells had 16 for Belmont. 2-seeded Louisville over 7-seeded Northwestern, 62-53 in the Alamo region. Louisville 25-3, Northwestern 16-9. It's funny because Northwestern actually got off to a good start in this game. Louisville had to come back. Keanu Smith had 16 for Louisville and 2 assists. Jordan Hamilton had 17 for Northwestern. 3-seeded Arizona over 11-seeded BYU, 52-46 in the Mercado region. Arizona 18-5, BYU 19-6. Ari McDonald had 17 and 11 with 3 assists for Arizona. Shaylee Gonzalez had 16 for BYU. 2-seeded Texas A&M over 7-seeded Iowa State, 84-82 in overtime. This was the game of the night. This came on a buzzer beater by Jordan Nixon. 25-2 is Texas A&M's record. Iowa State finishes at 17-11. Nixon had 35 points, including the buzzer beater, along with her 7 assists. Ashley Jones, 32 points, 18 boards for Iowa State. And the upset I got correct, 6-seeded Texas over 3-seeded UCLA, 71-62. Texas 29, UCLA 17-6. Celestity Taylor had 24 for Texas, and Michaela Onvori had 21 for UCLA. Alrighty, so there's your women's action from yesterday, and now we will transfer to the NIT, where the quarterfinals will begin tonight. So we will go over those 4 games. At 6 o'clock tonight, we got 4-seeded Mississippi State and 2-seeded Richmond on ESPN2. My projections here, Richmond by 6, total 140. Meanwhile, looks like Mississippi State is favored, which I think is wrong. I don't think Mississippi State's that good. Mississippi State 2.5, total 136.5. I'm going to take Richmond plus 2.5 and plus 124 on the money line. Wrong team's favored. I think Richmond's going to have a little bit of motivation here, so it's going to be Richmond. 7 o'clock ESPN, 3-seeded NC State, 1-seeded Colorado. I'm at Colorado 5.5, total 141.5. Meanwhile, it's NC State 1.5, total 146. I'm taking Colorado State plus the 1.5 and plus 106 on the money line. 9 o'clock ESPN, 2-seeded Boise State, 1-seeded Memphis. I'm at Boise 2, total 139.5. Meanwhile, it's Memphis 4, total 143. I'm taking Boise plus the 4 and plus 160 on the money line. every game so far, I've had the opposing team favored. And then 10 o'clock ESPN2, Conference USA matchup in the NIT, which is rare. Louisiana Tech and Western Kentucky. I'm at Western by 2, total 139. Meanwhile, it's pick in 136.5. Just to be different here, I'm going to go over 136.5 at minus 110. I think Western Kentucky will win. I could parlay Western in the over, but the pick for the podcast is going to be over 136.5 between the two Conference USA schools right there. Now I'm going to go over the NBA from yesterday, and we will look ahead to a smaller slate for tonight. Pacers over the Pistons, 116-111. The Pacers, 20-23. Detroit, 12-31. Karis LeVert had 28 for Indiana. Jeremy Grant had 29 for Detroit. Bucks over the Celtics, 121-119. The Bucks, 29-14. Boston, 21-23. Chris Middleton, 27 points, 13 boards. Jaylen Brown had 24-10 for Boston. Raptors over the Nuggets, 113-111. The Raptors, 18-26. Denver, 26-18. Pascal Siakam, 27 points and 8 boards. Nikola Jokic had 20 and 10 for Denver. Magic over the Suns, 112-111. The Magic, 15-29. Phoenix, 29-14. Nikola Vucevic, 27 points, 14 boards, and 4 assists. Devin Booker, 25 points and 7 assists. Cavs over the Bulls, 103-94. The Cavs are 17-27. The Bulls are 19-24. Zach LaVine had 22 and 4 assists. And Darius Garland had 22 and 9 assists. Hornets over the Rockets, 122-97. Charlotte, 22-21. Houston, 12-31. Terry Rozier had 25 and 4 assists for Charlotte. John Wall had 20 and 7 assists for the Rockets. Mavericks over the Timberwolves, 128-108. The Mavs are 23-19. Minnesota, 10-34. Kristaps Porzingis, 29 points for Dallas. Anthony Edwards is playing well. He had 29 for Minnesota. Grizzlies over the Thunder, 116-107. The Grizzlies, 21-20. Oklahoma City, 19-25. Dylan Brooks had 25 for Memphis. Moses Brown led the Thunder in scoring with 19 and also had 10 boards. Clippers over the Spurs, 134-101. The Clippers, 29-16. The Spurs, 22-19. Kawhi Leonard, 25 points. DeMar DeRozan, 19. Jazz over the Nets, 118-88. The Jazz, 32-11. Brooklyn, 30-15. Brooklyn obviously didn't have the big three. Donovan Mitchell, 27 points and 7 assists. Elias Johnson, 23 with 15 boards. Kings over the Hawks, 110-108. De'Aaron Fox had 37 points. As the Kings go to 19-25. Hawks dropped to 22-22. Trae Young had 29 and 9 assists. All right, tonight's window, 7:30 TNT. You got the Trailblazers and the Heat on TNT. My projections for this game, Miami by 1, total 222. Meanwhile, it's Miami by 4. We don't have a total yet. I'm taking Portland plus the 4. The best player on the court is Damian Lillard. Do I think Portland went outright? Maybe, but I'm going to take Portland getting the points. Wizards, Knicks. I'm at Knicks 3.5, total 222.5. Meanwhile, it's Knicks 2.5, total 225.5. I'm going to go under. I think that the Knicks defense will play a little bit better than it did. Granted, a lot of those late points were garbage time in what was a blowout win for them yesterday. So I'm going to go under 225.5 between the Wizards and the Knicks. 8:30, the Clippers and the Spurs. I'm at Clippers 11, total 222.5. Meanwhile, it's Clippers 6.5, total 222. I'm going to lay the 6.5 with the Clippers, and I'm going to assume that Kawhi and Paul George are playing. And you think that Kawhi's going to be motivated again because they're playing in San Antonio, right? So give me the Clippers minus 6.5 at minus 114. 10 o'clock TNT, the Sixers and the Lakers. I'm at Sixers 10.5, total 221.5. Meanwhile, it's Sixers 5, total 213. I think Davis and Embiid cancel out, and it's just LeBron that moves the point spread. I'm laying it with the Sixers. No LeBron, no chance. And I think that Ben Simmons will play and Tobias Harris will play. Those two guys will be the best player on the court. So give me the Sixers minus the 5 at the Lakers. And the Warriors and the Kings, I'm at Sacramento 2, total 29.5. And at Sacramento 2.5, total 23.5. I'm taking the over. I know Stephen Curry's not there, and that's why the total's so low relative to what it should be. But I could see some guys going off for 3 in this game on both sides. So give me over 223.5 between the Sacramento Kings and the Golden State Warriors in that one. All right, now we will go over the NHL from yesterday, which wasn't a busy slate. And we will look ahead to what should be a busier slate tonight. So without further ado, here we go. Penguins over the Sabres 5-2. That's the pick I got right. Pittsburgh 20-11-2. Buffalo 6-21-4. I had the Penguins puck line as the podcast play, and it was right. The number 3 started the game with an assist for the Penguins, Frederick Gaudreau. The number 2 started the game with a goal and an assist, Zach Aston Reese. And the number 1 started the game with a goal and assist, Sidney Crosby. Senators over the Flames 3-1. The Sens 12-20-3. Calgary 15-16-3. Number 3 started the game with a goal, Mark Giordano. Number 2 started the game with the goal, Chris Tierney. And the number 1 started the game with 28 saves on 29 shots, Philip Gustafsson, who's really turned into the top goalie on Ottawa of late. Wild over the Ducks 3-2. This was an under that I picked for the podcast. That was correct. Minnesota 20-10-1. Anaheim 9-19-6. Number 3 started the game with 28 saves on 30 shots, Cam Talbot. Number 2 started the game with 2 assists, Ryan Sutter. Number 1 started the game with 2 goals, Jared Spurgeon. Jets over the Canucks 5-1. The Jets 20-11-2. Vancouver 16-18-3. I think my pick here is Jets in regulation. That was good. The number 3 started game, didn't have a point but played well for the Jets. Josh Morrissey. The number 2 started game with 38 saves on 39 shots. Connor Hellebuck. Number 1 started game with 4 goals. Andrew Kopp. Sharks over the Kings 4-2. So best bet was a loser. San Jose 13-14-4. LA 13-13-6. The number 3 started game with 2 assists, Brett Burns. Number 2 started game with 2 goals, Evander Kane. Number 1 started game with 42 saves on 44 shots, Martin Jones. Big slate for tonight in the National Hockey League. At 7 o'clock, you got the Rangers and the Flyers. A huge game in the East. If the Rangers win this game, they become very close to that playoff spot. They'll be tied with the Flyers in the standings if they win this game. They'll be 2 back of the COVID-ravaged Bruins. The Rangers are favored. Minus 122. That's insane. Phillies plus 104. Over under 6.5. Overs minus 104. Unders minus 118. The Rangers plus 1.5 is minus 280. Flyers minus 1.5 is plus 225. That's really odd that the Rangers are favored here, but they're getting the goal. I'm taking the Flyers straight up at plus 104. This feels like a letdown for the Rangers after a couple big performances. Flyers got revenge on their mind after the 9-0 game from last week, so I'm going to go with the Flyers. I think Carter Hart plays well. Won't be shocked if the over hits too, but Flyers and over is a good parlay. I like the Flyers at home. Maybe there's injuries and COVID things we don't know about, but I'm taking the Flyers at home against the New York Rangers. The Islanders and the Bruins are minus 134. The Islanders are plus 114. Over under 5.5. Overs plus 132. Unders minus 162. Islanders plus 1.5 is minus 260. Bruins minus 1.5 is plus 210. I'm taking the Isles plus 114 on the money line. Bruins coming off a COVID pause, or a mini COVID pause. I'm taking the Islanders. Devils, Capitals. The Capitals are minus 205. The Devils are plus 172. Over under 6.5. Overs plus 114. Unders minus 140. Caps minus 1.5 is plus 128. The Devils plus 1.5 is minus 154. I'm going to go with the Capitals puck line. Minus 1.5 at plus 128. I don't really like how the Devils have played of late, so I'm going to go with the Capitals. Minus 1.5 at plus 128. Hurricanes, Blue Jackets. The Canes are minus 166. The Jackets are plus 140. Over under 5.5. Over is minus 105. Under is minus 115. Columbus plus 1.5 is minus 188. Carolina minus 1.5 is plus 155. I'm going to go under at minus 115. I think that this is a lower scoring game. Maple Leafs, Senators. The Leafs are minus 310. The Sens are plus 250. Over under 6.5. Over is minus 114. Under is minus 106. The Leafs minus 1.5 is minus 115. The Senators plus 1.5 is minus 104. This is a hard call. Ottawa on the second of a back-to-back. I like how their goalie has been playing. I'm going to go under 6.5. I think this could be a 3-2 game, maybe a 4-2 game. At minus 106, I like it. Sabres, Penguins again. Pens minus 350. Buffalo minus or plus 285. Over under 5.5. Overs minus 138. Unders plus 112. And the puck line's even money on each side. I'm going to go with the Pens puck line again for the second night in a row. Minus 110. It was minus 113 yesterday. Now it's minus 110. I like it. Buffalo is just a mess. 15 straight losses make it 16. Laying it with the Pens at minus 1.5 at minus 110. 8 o'clock, the Panthers and the Blackhawks. The Panthers are minus 130. The Blackhawks are plus 110 over under 6.5. Overs minus 108. The unders minus 112. Panthers minus 1.5 is plus 172. The Blackhawks plus 1.5 is minus 210. I'm going to go with the Blackhawks as a home dog here. I think that they are going to go out there and perform. So give me the Blackhawks plus 110. Red Wings, Predators. The Red Wings are plus 152. The Preds are minus 180. Over under 5.5. Overs are plus 110. The unders minus 134. Red Wings plus 1.5 is minus 176. The Preds minus 1.5 is plus 146. I'm going to go with the Preds in regulation at minus 120. I just don't think the Red Wings are very good. And I think that the Preds could go out and dominate and win in regulation. Blues, Wild. The Blues are plus 116. The Wild are minus 136. Over under 5.5. Overs minus 106. The unders minus 114. Blues plus 1.5 is minus 215. The Wild minus 1.5 is plus 176. I'm going to go with the Blues as a road underdog here. Wild on the second night of a back-to-back. I know Minnesota's playing great, but I'm going to go with the Blues here as a dog. 8:30, the Lightning and the Stars. The Lightning are minus 172. The Stars are plus 144. Over under 5.5. Overs plus 114. Unders minus 140. Lightning minus 1.5 is plus 152. The Stars plus 1.5 is minus 184. I'm going to go with the Lightning in regulation at minus 105. I don't love the Stars team that much. A lot of COVID issues, obviously, and then the power outages. That storm issue in Dallas held them back. I like this Lightning team, so give me the Lightning in regulation at minus 105. And 9 o'clock, the Golden Knights and the Avalanche. The Avs minus 180. The Golden Knights are plus 150. Over under 5.5. Overs minus 115. Unders minus 105. Golden Knights plus 1.5 is minus 166. The Avalanche minus 1.5 is plus 138. Plus 150 on the Golden Knights is super, super valuable. I'm going to take it. I can't believe that the Knights are this big of an underdog. I think that they are going to win it outright, whether it's in overtime and regulation. I like the Golden Knights a lot. It's a big dog tonight at Colorado. I just like the value on the Golden Knights, so I'm going to go with that. All right, now I'm going to do Major League Baseball spring training results from yesterday and talk about things that went on in some of these games and look ahead to the games being played today. Blue Jays over the Yankees 5-0. Getting the win was Trent Thornton. Davey Garcia the loss. Bo Bichette homered. Teoscar Hernandez homered, and then Bichette homered again. Pirates over the Braves 6-3. Austin Riley, Adam Frazier, and Riley again. Eric Gonzalez all homered for their respective teams. Rays over the Twins 7-6. Peter Fairbanks the win, Tyler Duffy the loss, and Lewis had the save. And Drelton Simmons homered for the Twins. Willie Adames homered for the Rays, and then Trevor LaRanche homered for Minnesota. Cardinals over the Mets 3-0. The Cards, Carlos Martinez gets the win. for Salzburg the loss. Jordan Hicks the save. Tigers over the Phillies 4-1. Jose Reyna the win. Ivan Nova the loss. Tyler Alexander the save. Robbie Grossman homered in this game for the Tigers. A's over the White Sox 14-4. Sean Manaea the win. Lance Lynn the loss. Tom Murphy homered in this game for Oakland. And Seth Brown is having a good spring training for Oakland. He homered in that game as well. Rockies over the Brewers 9-8. I think that these two teams are teams that could go either way this year, especially the Brewers. The Rockies, not so sure really. I think there's a chance that the Rockies could be really bad, and same with Milwaukee. Colton Wong, Travis Shaw, Christian Yelich, all homered in this game for Milwaukee. Angels over the Royals 4-2. Mike Myers the win for the Angels. Hunter Dozier homered for the Royals, and Justin Upton hit the go-ahead homer for the Angels. Red Sox over the Orioles 2-0. Nate Eovaldi gets the win. Dean Kramer the loss. Hunter Renfroe homered in this game for Boston. Astros over the Nats 11-8. Josh Bell, Ryan Zimmerman twice, Kyle Schwarber, Carlos Correa. And now some of these teams are in dress rehearsal stage where their players are playing 9-inning games, and those three players I listed all homered in this game for their respective clubs. Rangers over the Reds 6-5. Arquides Aquino homered in this game for the Reds, as well as Eugenio Suarez. Diamondbacks over the Indians 6-5. Caleb Smith the win, Aaron Savali the loss. Anthony Swarzak the save. Ketel Marte homered in this game for the Diamondbacks. Esteban Cabrera homered for the D-backs as well. And Josh Naylor homered for Cleveland. Cubs over the Mariners 6-2. Zach Davies the win. Justin Dunn the loss. Taylor Trammell, Cam Maben, and Jake Marisnick homered for their respective clubs. Giants over the Padres 7-3. Anthony DeSclafani the win. Adrian Morejon the loss. Donovan Solano, Mike Yastrzemski, Will Myers, Austin Slater, Joey Bart homered for their respective clubs. Now today's games. 1 o'clock, Rays, Braves. 4 o'clock, Diamondbacks, Royals, Reds, White Sox, Mariners, A's, Angels, Rockies. 6 o'clock, Yankees, Phillies, Twins, Red Sox, Pirates, Orioles, Cardinals, Astros, Nats, Marlins. 6:30, Tigers, Blue Jays. 9 o'clock, Dodgers, Cubs. 9:40, Rangers, Padres. 10 o'clock, the Brewers and the Giants. Alrighty, now we will do some golf talk. We will go over some of the results in the WGC Dell. These results are really, really interesting at the moment in terms of the match play. Ian Poulter over Rory McIlroy. You had Xander Schauffele half up with Adam Sullivan. Scotty Scheffler defeated Jason Day. Daniel Bergen over Evan Van Rooyen. Harry English over Brendan Todd. John Rahm over Sebastian Munoz. Ryan Palmer over Shane Lowry. Patrick Cantlay over Harman. Ortiz over Hideki Matsuyama. Reed and Watson halved. Joaquin Niemann and Ziedenhout halved. Spieth over Fitzpatrick. Wolf over Connors. Kuchar over Thomas. Kisner over Otsian. Fratelli over Finau. Kokrak over Zalatoris. Rosin over DeChambeau. Fleetwood and Kim halved. Strelman over Hovland. Anson over Weisberger. Mariko and Potson halved. Horschel over Homa. Simpson over the Gooch. Hughes over Casey. Watson and Hatton halved. Garcia over Westwood. Im over Henley. Perez over Leishman. Johnson over Long. And McIntyre over Nah. That was yesterday. And today you have a bunch of interesting matchups as well in the WGC Dell Technologies match play. 10:30 have Cantlay and Ortiz. 10:41 Matsuyama and Harmon. 10:52 Reed and Ziedenhout. 03 Neiman and Watson. 14 Fitzpatrick and Connors. 9 in the 11 o'clock hour. 11:25 Wolf and Spieth. 11:36 Thomas and Kisner. 11:47 Uzian and Kuchar. 11:58 Tony Finau and Zalatoris. 12:09 Kokrak and Fratelli. 12:20 DeChambeau and Kim. 12:31 Fleetwood and Rosner. 12:42 Hovland and Weisberger. 12:53 Anser and Strelman. 1:04 Mariko and Homa. 1:15 Horschel and Potson. 1:26 Simpson and Hughes. 1:37 Casey and Gooch. 1:48 Hatton and Garcia. 1:59 Westwood and Wallace. 2:10 Im and Leishman. 2:21 Perez and Henley. 2:32 Dustin Johnson and McIntyre. 2:43 Nah and Long. 2:54 McElroy and Griffin. 3:05 Smith and Poulter. 3:16 Schauffele and Day. 3:27 Scheffler and Sullivan. 3:38 Berger and Todd. 3:49 English and Van Rooyen. 4 o'clock Rahm and Lowry. And 4:11 Palmer and Munoz. That's it for the match play of the day. And then your leaderboard right now at your top 5 in the championship. Nate Lashley is at -4 in first place. And second place is a big tie. J.J. Spawn, Cheston Headley, Tim Wickledson, and Charlie Hoffman all at 2 under in the Corrales Punta Cana Resort Club and Champions. And then we talked about the match play already. And then in terms of odds for match play winner as an overall pick, I'm going to go with Daniel Berger at 20-1. I think that's good odds on the board for match play. The overall winner, the outright winner. So I'm going to go Daniel Berger 21 for the outright winner. All right, back to baseball. We are going to do shortstop rankings right now. As all week we've been going through player rankings for Major League Baseball. So now I'm going to do my shortstop rankings as the season gets closer. Number 30, Kyle Farmer of the Reds. 20, Willie Castro, Tigers. 28, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, Rangers. 27, Eric Gonzalez, Pirates. 26, Nick Ahmed, D-backs. 25, Miguel Rojas, Marlins. 24, Freddie Galvis, Orioles. 23, Jose Iglesias, Angels. 22, Orlando Arcia, Brewers. 21, Andres Jimenez, Indians. 20, J.P. Crawford, Mariners. 19, Willie Adames, Rays. 18, Adalberto Mondesi, Royals. 17, Andrelton Simmons, Twins. 16, Brandon Crawford, Giants. 15, Didi Gregorius, Phillies. 14, Dansby Swanson, Braves. 13, Elvis Andrus, Athletics. 12, Paul DeJong, Cardinals. 11, Gleyber Torres, Yankees. 10, Tim Anderson, White Sox. 9, Trey Turner, Nats. 8, Bo Bichette, Blue Jays. 7, Corey Seager, Dodgers. 6, Javier Baez, Cubs. 5, Carlos Correa, Astros. 4, Xander Bogaerts, Red Sox. 3, Trevor Story, Rockies. 2, Francisco Lindor, Mets. And number 1, Fernando Tatis Jr., San Diego Padres. I got to admit, it was very hard picking a winner between these top 2. It was either going to be Tatis or Lindor. I went with Tatis because of that flair, the dramatic factor. And Lindor is great, too. It was so hard to pick. But I went with Tatis, although he's dealing with a little injury right now. Story and Bogarts and Correa and Baez. I think that Story was easily number 3. And you could argue between the next three guys I talked about, Bogarts, Correa, and Baez, even Corey Seager for that matter, for spots 4 through 7. Bogarts has been tremendous the past couple of years. Correa, I think, takes a hit because of the cheating scandal. Baez, a little inconsistent, but still has the upside. Corey Seager has a high floor. Bo Bichette, I think, will be a breakout guy this year for the Jays. Trey Turner, I'm just a fan. I think he puts it all together this year, potentially. Tim Anderson's been a hitting machine. And then there's some good shortstops out of the top 10. Gleyber Torres, Paul DeYoung, Andrew Swanson. And I feel like Didi was a little bit overrated because he was a Yankee and had that one great month in 2018 with a bunch of homers. But to me, he's just a solid starting shortstop at this point. And that's still pretty good for 15. I think this is a deep position. And there's some defensive whizzes in the 20s, but they're that low because they don't hit. So there you have it, my Major League Baseball shortstop rankings for 2021. Now up, I'm going to do the latest news and notes. The Pistons made a trade last night, trading away Delon Wright to Sacramento for Corey Joseph and 2 second-round picks. That's really like a nothing trade on getting assets for Delon Wright, who's a veteran that could help the Kings a little bit. Corey Joseph's a guy that's bounced around the last couple years. Spurs, Pacers, Pistons, now the Kings. Or the Kings, now the Pistons, I should say. And speaking of trades, the biggest name that could potentially be moved today is Kyle Lowry. He has some fan speculation, or he has speculation of the fans after he threw up a deuces to the cameras post-game. That means something. He knows that he's out. It's just a matter of who's trading him. Is it Philly? Is it Miami? Is it someone we're not even thinking of? The Warriors are shopping Kelly Oubre as Golden State has been aggressive in making calls on Oubre. I think that they want to get off of Oubre, a good 3-and-D guy that could help somebody. And I think that the Warriors want like something else that fits them better. We talked about Jordan Nixon's buzzer beater in the women's segment earlier in the show. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to miss significant time due to right foot plantar fasciitis. This is a big loss for Oklahoma City. I think that this puts them in the conversation for Kate Cunningham, potentially. I think they're going to end up tanking because they're going to miss their best player, and they want to be bad all along. So there you have it. And let's hope for the best for SGA. He recovers from this injury. The New York Knicks are eyeing Andre Drummond as they emerged as a serious potential destination for Drummond. I don't like that fit for New York. They already have some quality centers in Mitchell Robinson, Nerlens Noel, and then Taj Gibson is their third center. He's better than Noel and Gibson, obviously, but I just don't like the fit of him in New York. He, I think, is better suited for the Lakers, the Clippers even, or Brooklyn. Kai Jones is entering the NBA draft as the sophomore forward and potential first rounder announces that he is declaring for the draft. Texas, Kai Jones had a great year, and he's going into the draft. And I think that he could be somebody that could be impactful for somebody on an NBA team. Lance McCullers and the Astros agreed to a 5-year, $85 million extension. McCullers is somebody that was a World Series hero. Somebody that had surgery and now just got massively paid. So now they have an asset locked up for the long term. Now the question is, what did he do with Carlos Correa? Bears signed Damian Williams to a 1-year deal. and he opted out of the season last year, and the Chiefs cut him because they already have Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So Damian Williams is now a member of the Chicago Bears. I like that for them. Now they have him, David Montgomery, and Tyree Cohen. So they have 3 good running backs. Maybe one of those other 2 guys winds up getting traded or cut. Kyle Rudolph signs Giants contract after doctors were concerned about a foot injury. And he's getting surgery, and he's going to be back for the start of the season, so that's good. Kyle Rudolph is not the same Kyle Rudolph from Minnesota, but I think he could be a veteran that could help the Giants in the red zone. That's his best specialty, and the Giants had a hard time scoring in the red zone last year, so he should help them in that department tremendously, although he's not the same player as he once was. All right, that wasn't much news and notes of the day, and now I'm going to recap last night's episode of The Masked Singer. Interesting to say the least. Joel McHale joined the club as a guest panelist as he makes his yearly appearance. The Russian Dolls went first again. They hinted at having an issue that they had to deal with. There was an M sweatshirt. There was fire. There was a ukulele in there. There was like a solar system thing. And then the trauma, they said, made them stronger. And they performed Wonder by Shawn Mendes. And then there's a third Russian doll that came out. This is crazy. And then in the pre-commercial hint, they hinted that there's a fourth one. And I have a guess for who these Russian dolls are. That is U2. I think that is a really, really solid guess. This is definitely a boy band that is back together. And my guess for this is U2, Bono, Adam Clayton, The Edge, and Larry Mullen Jr. And obviously The Edge, his actual name is David Howell Evans. So that is my guess at the moment for the Russian Dolls. Jenny McCarthy is still going with Lady A. Robin went with Sugarland. Joel McHale went with Boyz II Men. And Ken Jeong had a bad guess of the Jackson 5. Meanwhile, we already saw LaToya on the show in Season 1. The Raccoon hinted about having a thing for Jenny McCarthy. There was a crossing sign. Hint about having a fast start in Hollywood. There's a train in there in a box. And he performed Ring of Fire by Johnny Cash. And by the way, the extra thing of the week was the self-portrait. And the Russian Dolls, by the way, was a picture of colored buses. And Raccoons was a picture of himself with stars, moons, and bats. And my guess for Raccoon was Danny Trejo. It just sounded a lot like him. And there's that big hint about him being in jail in the first episode. So that's what led me to Danny Trejo. Robin went with Tony Danza. Nicole went with Rocky. And Jenny went with John Voight. Robopine, there's a time watch, a construction sign, lightning, police. There's a stuffed animal. There was trash and a cone. And he had a very soulful, beautiful performance to All of Me by John Legend. His self-portrait was a rock star with the red, it's like rock star themed with the red guitar with spiderweb. And I'm sticking with my guess of Stevie Wonder, who obviously was a big-time singer from the 70s and 80s. Do I Do, Isn't She Lovely, I Wish, Signed, Sealed, Delivered, among his great songs. Also, I Wish as well. Nicole went with Jason Derulo, which is terrible. Robin went with Wesley Stein. Ken Jeong went with Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy's not that terrible, by the way, if a guess. Seashell. There's a dog, an office, someone that felt small in terms of in life. There's a baseball bat and the ball, which had me scratching my head. There was a cat. There were bagels and eggs. There was a 2-minute stopwatch. There was plants and a heart. And this person performed Confident by Demi Lovato. And the portrait was of a tornado. A tornado. A mic. A book. And food. I don't feel good about this guess, but I'm getting Kelly Rowland vibes. I know I feel like I guessed her every year. I guessed her as the Night Angel. I guessed her as somebody else in a past season too. Oh, I had her as the kangaroo too. But yeah, I feel like she's always a popular guest. The lion, I thought potentially too. Ken Jeong went with Jenny Slate, and Robin Thicke went with Haley Duff, which wasn't bad. And then the wild card contestant of the show. The first wild card. Orca. Pie Hole Pizza. 949. Is that a zip code? Orange flower. There's a clock, a 25, a tape. There were gummies. 1313 Melville Court. Is that an address? And there's a boat. And then this person performed We're Not Gonna Take It by Twister Sister. And the portrait had waves and a surfboard. I'm not going to give away my first impression guess. That will be revealed when Orca gets unmasked. Nicole went with David Grohl. Joel McHale went with Billy Corrigan. And Jenny guessed Kevin Bacon. And who went home? The raccoon. My first impression guess was Brian Johnson of AC/DC because of the raspiness in his voice. And my final guess was Danny Trejo because it sounded like him and there's that big hint of him being in jail. Ken's first impression was Mike Tyson. His final was Danny DeVito. Jenny McCarthy's first impression was Dustin Hoffman. Her final was Gary Busey. Nicole's first impression was Gary Busey. Her final was Silas Golomb. Robin's first impression was Danny DeVito. His final guess was Tony Danza. And then Joel McHale went with Robin with Tony Danza. And who was it? Danny Trejo. I was correct. Congrats to me for getting a contestant right on The Masked Singer for the first time this year. And the contestants were wrong. I do not have any points for first impressions, but I give myself a pat on the back and a point for a final guess with Danny Trejo being the raccoon. So, Masked Singer off to a good start so far. Kermit the Frog 2 weeks ago. You had Caitlyn Jenner last week and now Danny Trejo this week. So, I feel like they're 3 for 3 in terms of big-time celebrities on the show so far this year. And obviously next week I think we'll see Group B and one more wild card. So that should be interesting. And obviously Group B was Black Swan, Grandpa Monster, Chameleon, and Piglet. And then Phoenix wound up going home. And Phoenix was Caitlyn Jenner, as we talked about on the show already. Last but not least, my best bet of the day. Brought to you by FanDuel. I'm going to roll with the Sixers again for the second time in 3 days. They're going to take advantage of the star player being hurt, which is LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and star players in that case. So, I'm going to lay the 5.5 with the Lakers. I'm going to lay a half unit on the Sixers minus 5.5. I went up to 5.5, which I like, so I could just don't have to pay no extra juice for 5. So I'm going to lay the 5.5 and a half unit with the Sixers against the Lakers. So there you have it for the show today. I'll be back tomorrow recapping NIT, NBA, NHL, MLB spring training, and look ahead to tomorrow's and the weekend's games. And we will make picks for Sweet 16 matchups for Saturday and Sunday as well. And I'll do my third baseman rankings on the show tomorrow and the latest news and notes. And we'll go over the trade deadline in a special podcast dropping tonight, as we'll go over all the moves made at the trade deadline today and who did themselves good and who did themselves poorly. Talk about possible buyout guys as well. And then on tomorrow's show, latest news and notes and best bets as well. Hope you guys have a great day, everybody.